Drama overtakes crypto Twitter. The SEC deadline for the Bitcoin spot ETF comes right up, and we have many mixed signals confusing the entire market. Is it time to build that altcoin bag? All this and more on today's Blockchain Basement.
Bum, 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 bum. You ready for this? I'm ready. Welcome.
If you're gonna screw me, at least pull my hair.
Hell yeah. What you got?
They could start chopping off fingers. They're like, give me your seed phrase, but I don't know it.
Out to give the numbers out. And I was like, no, hang up the phone right now.
Or like when it dropped in 2020, was it like exciting?
400,000 to 600,000. The generational signals are now.
Level. So I don't even know if we're gonna get back below there. But if we do, that's kind of where we.
What's up? Hello, everyone. It's a heavy Monday, man. Just a absolutely crazy beginning to the week. Crazy stuff going on, but thank you guys for joining us. We're sharing this with the wonderful people in the basement. Flippa Frank, Alec Wilson, Sawtooth Hiker, Blue Punk Rocker, Deucey Does Crypto, Redman, Robert Cosson, Chili Rainbow. What is up, you guys? Thank you for joining us again. Yes, there's been quite a bit of changes and big announcements going on as of this morning. It's been pretty crazy, but you know, with every mushroom cloud, there is a silver lining. You know, I just want everyone to keep that in mind. We are in the trenches of. We will be getting into it soon with the Bitcoin Glassnode data, but this is looking like one of the longest bear markets and kind of boring zones in this asset class that we've seen so far. So, you know, just keep that in mind. We have to stay steady because we're here to change our lives financially. We're here to make our lives better and to share our information together and bring the latest news to you to do so. So with that being said, we're joined with a fantastic crew today. We have Aaron up top here, you know, thick as can be.
I don't know, man. This is not my seat because usually like the girls sit here. I am no Hannah by any means.
Yeah, no, you have a much slightly bigger frame than Hannah.
Yeah, a little wider.
Deezy down on the couch. What's up, man? How you doing?
Doing good. Doing good. I was going to make a comment. I'm not going to. Hey guys. We're here for the basement. I think the basement is bigger than anything. The basement is a movement. And if you think the basement's a movement, hit that like button.
That's right. That's right. Mm-hmm. And the bejesus, Biscuit Jesus himself, the Biscuit Jesus. How you doing?
Doing fantastic. I personally actually had a lot of fun at Rare Evo. Ended up going to Bitcoin Miami, where honestly it's kind of like the crypto bro scene. And the nice thing, Rare Evo was heavily a Cardano event, but it was multi-chain as well. But it was super nice being able to have extremely intellectual conversations with a lot of people. And I actually want to eventually talk about some of the AI advancements and talking about what is known as emergent thought and whether or not we can actually teach that to AI, such as, for example, say you're the AI and I'm talking to you and we have some inside joke about corn and somehow that pops up in conversation. It's like, at what point can we teach AI emergent thought? And if we can, that's kind of where the future is.
Mm-hmm.
But
the Golden Jet has a question. Where can I follow BJ? I want to hear him talk more. Is it the Biscuit Jesus?
Yes, I'm going to pull
the
him up
Biscuit
here.
Jesus, correct.
The Biscuit
Let's
Jesus.
see here. Don't
Yeah,
pull
no,
much
that's a good point.
So-
Rare Evo, it was very diverse. It wasn't the vibe of Bitcoin Miami. You think of Bitcoin Miami, you're thinking like 25 to 40-year-old Miami tech bro, and it was the opposite feeling of that. It was real inclusive, and I had a great time as well.
Here's Biscuit Jesus on Twitter. You can pull up my screen here. It's at the Biscuit Jesus. So make sure you spell it right. He's tough one to find. I don't think you have any imposters, but
yeah, because I'm a nobody.
yeah, you will. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. But yeah. Rare Evo, you guys were actually heading out there while I was coming back home from Denver. So I was kind of sad to.
Yeah, I waved to you in the
I know.
sky.
I passed you in the airport. Yeah, I was very sad. The Gaylord Hotel I have a history with. So I was at.
It's weird.
Yeah, I know. It's very weird. Okay. In Denver, I was a headhunter for heavy commercial construction, superintendent, project managers, things of that nature. And I actually was really, really involved with the actual building of that building. And something crazy about the Gaylord is that I did see, and now obviously I had no connection directly to this particular system, but the HVAC system fell out of the ceiling and landed in the pool inside the Gaylord Hotel not too terribly long ago. So that was kind of crazy to see. It's this massive structure, best contractors in the world on it, and still something massive like that can go wrong. It should teach you a lesson, never take things for granted. The ceiling above us may fall sometimes, but crypto.
Let me say this about Gaylord. The gift shops did not have any merch that said Gaylord. I wanted a Gaylord coffee mug, Gaylord t-shirt. Would have been funny. They didn't sell anything. It was
that's a missed opportunity.
Huge.
That's a missed opportunity. Absolutely. It's a really popular place though. Denver's turning into central Denver, kind of getting a little scuzzy for my taste. But I am seeing my manager owns a bar / venue that's really kind of killing it, the Rick House out there. It's just funny. I played a show out there and they all want me to come back and do all this stuff. I just, I don't know if I'm really thinking it logically, if I think that I can hold down a band in a whole nother state. It's kind of tough because you don't know if you still got all the gusto still built inside of you to just, plaster out and send it. But when it worked last time, BJ, we just got to start a band out here. That's really the moral of the story.
Yeah. I'm down. I haven't played in a while, and then my hands kind of recovered. Like, I still don't have the chops that I used to have, but
we'll get them back. We'll get them oiled up and ready to go. Don't you worry. But yeah, we have a little bit, honestly, nothing. The reason why, all the drama broke this weekend. Yesterday, this is from BitBoy Crypto Twitter account. Yesterday, BJ Investment Holdings, the parent company of Hit Network, took decisive legal action in removing Ben Armstrong from the company, specifically the BitBoy Crypto brand. I just wanted to bring this up. I don't want to sit here and let everyone speculate and try to clout
let's read
chase.
the next two tweets. I think there's two more.
Yeah, this is a difficult decision. Is a culmination of prolonged effort to help Ben during his relapse into substance abuse, as well as reconcile the emotional and physical and financial damage he has done to employees of Hit Network and the BitBoy community. The Bit Squad deserves better, and we are going to get through this together. We wish him the best and regret that it has come to this, hopefully, for the future of BitBoy Crypto. It's a heavy subject matter, man. This is it's super heavy because, coming into crypto, obviously I've been watching crypto since 2017, but when I saw Ben's channel and kind of what he stood for, he's someone I really, I loved following, loved the message, and the whole situation is super, super sad. Really hurts you in the heart, especially us here in the building. We work, day in and day out with him, and the whole situation is just it's really sad. No BJ on the couch does not own the Hit Network.
That's terrifying to think about.
That is absolutely terrifying to think about. This would be like a magic card convention every day.
That'd be amazing. Come on.
You
get a Black Lotus.
It would be pretty fun.
Lotus.
It would be pretty fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, you guys, substance abuse, that whole subject matter, it's a very difficult thing to talk about, or and obviously we're in a kind of a fresh mode. It's a big kind of thing that just happened, so you got to take it all in. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast in decision making and in life. You don't want to jump to rash conclusions. You don't want to try to clout chase the situation. Did see someone in the chat clout chasing on Twitter, and that is something that really I do not approve of. I don't think that that's right. So we are going to be taking their mod status away right now, because this is not a situation where you can dance around and offer juicy details, right? Like, let's respect the privacy of Ben and his family. And, we're here to bring you guys the news as it happens. We are here to try to better ours and your lives, just by showing you our process, my process here. Cryptocurrency is really what got me out of the trenches. I was in a really dark place during COVID because of the level of government overreach that I was seeing coming down the pipeline. A lot of things that I've been watching for years happened to put me in a very, very dark place. And Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and that kind of improvement to my life, and owning homes, buying out vehicles, having ownership of my assets, it was a very big breath of relief. So, in this subject matter, I know that, there's a lot of conjecture going on about what happened. What the details are what they are. It's really, it's an unfortunate situation, but we can make good out of the painful times.
And this
We
isn't
can
a
learn from
betrayal.
these.
Like I'm seeing that a lot on Twitter, that I'm obviously, because it looks like we've done that. That's not what it is. And there's a lot of details that people aren't aware of, or day to day that people aren't aware of.
Right.
But like, things change. People change. Like sometimes, think of ex-girlfriends or ex-boyfriends that you've had in your life, that it's like sometimes just parting ways is what has to happen. And it's never fun and it's never enjoyable. But like, as Nick always says, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. And it's just like, sometimes you have to learn different lessons in different places. And I wish the best to everybody in this situation.
Yeah.
It's like anybody who thinks like, we're like, oh, cool, like, I hope this person's screwed. No. Like, honestly, the better off everybody is emotionally and physically in life, is the better for everybody. Like, we're stuck in this ecosystem together, and that ecosystem is the universe.
Right.
We're nothing but energy, and we just want to put positive energy out there. It's better for everyone. So, like, I want to put that to the side, because that is actually bothering me a lot when people are like, oh, you're doing this, and you're only looking out for yourselves. It's like, no. There's a lot more going on here than you think.
And we just feel the need to keep moving forward, because we got to keep people in the know. We got to keep people hearing about the power of decentralization, about the power that you can bring to your personal life through getting into the market at the right time, through having patience through market upswings and downswings, and not feeling bad for taking profits. Like, if you followed kind of our particular process in this show, exactly. I mean, we got in, we were talking about 15 holding the bottom for Bitcoin, did everything we could, me, TJ, a lot of people were talking about just buying as much as possible in that time frame. Then we saw meme coin season come up. We gave you the alpha on meme season coming up. And then I was like, all right, meme season's probably run out of gasoline. Let's probably pull up some profits. Let's make our lives better in the short term, and I know that a lot of people, they'll get really, really heavily involved or overly involved with a specific cryptocurrency outside of Bitcoin or Ethereum. But there is a good time to take profits. If you're going to better your life, if you're going to make a larger section to your home with it, if you're going to be housing the money in a vehicle or different, hard-sided assets, I think there's a lot of value in that. And, I know that we have this idea that if you hold a Bitcoin, it's going to be worth infinite money, or, $10 million. You're here right now and you can't live in a Bitcoin. So improve your life now with this technology. And I mean, right now, it's been a painful process. There's no lie about it. It's this is from Miles Dushner, talking about
What a name.
Yeah, I know, it's a good
man.
name. It's a good name. At Miles Dushner, congrats on surviving the longest bear market in Bitcoin history. They'll call you lucky next cycle. And this is just showing this Glassnode data on Bitcoin price year-over-year change. And this is the
what is the baseline, by the way, that they call when a bear market starts and ends, like on that 386 days? Like,
I think it's around, I think it's like 380 days, I think.
Well, no, what is the baseline, like the inflection
What exactly?
point between the
There's
green
a
and the
weird
red?
formula for the y-axis,
Right.
And if you scroll over, they kind of say it, but they don't really have any kind of weights. And I ask Ben Cowan this. Year over year percentage change, negative year over year, and positive year over year. And it's like, okay, what's that equation?
Right.
Again, that's where you go and like watch Ben Cowan's thing where he's like, yeah, I put this in the parentheses and exponent and we divide it by Bitcoin.
Yeah, DCM prices year over year changed at 0%.
And it's just because you got people buying this top and then they've spent 500 days in the negative, as far as their entry points. I think is what it is. But I mean, it's been a long time of this this painful area right here, and a lot of people have been looking for this. Now, this is the grand question right now, in my mind at least, is are we revisiting this 22 to it's just about 26,000? This is that range right here. And in general, I'm looking for this pullback down here just to feel a little bit more healthy in the Bitcoin market as far as having places to move up from. This 100% increase happened over a very short amount of time. And it was great. Right here, I bought as much Bitcoin as I could. And, that short buy doubled up in a really short amount of time. But in the meantime, also getting into altcoins like HBAR and ICP was extremely profitable right here. It went from, $3 an ICP up to like $7 or $8, I think is when I got out. So a quick double up on that too. Now that we see, a little bit of negative action, just a reasonable pullback in my opinion, because Bitcoin's a volatile asset class. Those altcoins are starting to get crushed. Like I was looking at some of the mainstay altcoins I'm watching. XRP surprisingly has held. I mean, what do you think about this? The fact that XRP's held 52 cents in this, like
it went back to about the level that it was at prior to the statements about the trial, correct?
Yeah, well, this is right when the trial information came.
So it's a wee bit higher.
A wee bit higher, but it's showing relative strength compared to Bitcoin, which is kind of odd. And then the other ones that I was watching, let's see here, DZ's ApeCoin is waking up too. That was nice to see.
DZ's chicken salad?
DZ's chicken salad. Let's see. Oh, Cardano.
26. Is that 26?
Yeah.
26 cents.
It's been holding there for a minute.
I know.
I bought some when it dipped a little bit lower. I think I might have grabbed it I don't know if it did 25.5, but I grabbed some right around that point.
And I know that we stick to the DCA is the way type mentality overall, but I really like moving aggressively with just big bags at the right time when things are just really bad looking on the charts to kind of multiply those gains I can make. I was trying to get Cardano for 20 cents. If we end up continuing to retrace down to, even the 24 area for Bitcoin, I could see Cardano getting to that level. It's just a question of it really will need something to.
Stop. I can only get so hard.
Yeah?
Okay. Let's not talk about Cardano and the teams. Okay. This is going to become an X-rated stream real quickly if that happens.
That's what I want. And even projects like Algorand, that are completely beat down right now.
What is Algo at?
It's at let's see here. I think it's at 8 cents, maybe 9
What
cents.
is going on there?
I know. But this could be a buying opportunity of a lifetime if you're moving into this thing when everything's painful, when no one's looking. They got blood on the streets, as they say. Oh, it's got a little 1% pump today. Let's see if it's living. And scoop my face out of the way here. Let me see. There we go.
Is there anything weird on my desktop? No, we're good.
No, it looks like your grinder's on the other side here. Let's see.
BJ, I'm supposed to give you this pillow for some reason.
The Yoshi?
The Yoshi pillow.
This is Algorand. Overall, this is kind of the lowest point it's ever been.
Yeah, every holder's a negative except for people last week.
Yeah.
Which is me. I bought it last week. First time I bought Algorand in probably over 12 months. So, I'm just lowering my DCA. Didn't sell enough, wrote it down. It went a lot lower than I was expecting to, folks.
Right.
So at this point, I'm just hoping there's some VC money kind of poured out of it as well. So at this point, I'm just kind of hoping it has a strong bull run.
They're in with the Clintons. Isn't that kind of bullish as far as their fundraising abilities?
That's a tenuous connection at best.
Yeah.
It's not like Hillary, is secretly calling the CEO. They did something with something that Hillary has connection to. How many entities does Hillary and Bill have connection to, though?
Probably thousands.
Okay, so thousands. We're human beings and we have finite time. So what is her engagement? What is her involvement? Is there any?
She probably just laughs when she sees the returns at the end of the year. We came, we saw.
And then
we
she
made
gets
money.
weak and has to be held up.
Yeah, exactly. Polygon's looking pretty strong, 56 cents. This is another one I'll probably have to redo and get back into. looks pretty strong right here. I mean, it bounced right around this level at 45 cents, but really not that much difference from 45 cents to 56 cents. It just really depends on if we have another, kind of massive black swan or a shutdown, things of that nature that could change that.
We will.
You think so? Yeah, I think so, man. There's been
how do you bring back right now if interest rates are going up and everything else? How else do you justify quantitative easing, which is 100% what has to happen right now?
Yeah,
like we have no other way. People are going to be calling on our debt, bond. I mean, literally nobody is buying bonds. So what else do you do? Plus, certain people's stock prices are going down. It's all lining up for that, and they're going to print money again.
I think so.
And if they don't print money again, that might be when they pull in a CDBC that I think might be on Coinbase, and then they rug that, and then they do a CDBC that's not on chain. Because down the road, the CDBC will not be on chain.
Yeah,
it will not. That is a transparency that they cannot allow. No totalitarian government wants transparency.
Yeah. Also, to BJ's point, there's macro environment, there's macro trends, there's macro downturns. There's no presidential election that has ever happened as far as in my adult life, at least, where we have a macro downtrend and then the incumbent party is just like, yeah, that's fine. We're okay going into November with everyone hating us. Now they always inject or pump or inflate, whatever you want to use the word. They always inflate it. Some sort of Hail Mary red zone type deal.
Well, on that same note, trying to compare apples to oranges doesn't work. Speaking of oranges, they dealt with the penny version 1.0 in a certain way that a lot of people don't agree with. So to me, if you're trying to compare apples to apples, then you need to have penny 2.0 and be like, oh, see, we handled it correctly. Look at how good we are. And then you can get into the fact that people won't be able to put certain paper things in certain boxes to make certain choices down the road. But it seems like an absolute narrative of being be like, we're the winners. We did this better.
Well, the music industry is getting ready for it. The venue industry and the music industry is getting ready for it. They're starting to take menus out of restaurants again. Remember that? So I see these little
the barcode or whatever with your phone.
Yeah, well that's where the QR code found its big use case. You know what I mean? And remember, last lockdown, that's kind of, from my viewpoint, that's where I felt like the metaverse narrative really kicked off. Because people were living that very digital existence for an extended period of time. So maybe that would, maybe we see a resurgence of sand or like these metaverse projects that, I mean, obviously not many people are using them right now and they look very dead.
Look, here's what I'll say. Yes, you're 100% correct. There's a very small percentage of people that are involved in crypto that were deep in metaverse, saw the teams building. Remember NFT worlds and, Pavia, so many teams building and testing. I will say this. There's people who have a college degree in metaverses, and most people don't. And so everyone who doesn't will probably think, oh yeah, it's a good narrative.
Yeah.
The people with the college degrees know it won't happen, but are also smart enough to realize retail will come in and then again think that it's a good narrative. And then it will be a self-fulfilling prophecy. No one is going to be shopping at the Gucci store in the metaverse and sandbox in 4 years. It isn't going to happen.
It's like
but 2 years from now, a large percentage of the people in crypto will think it's going to happen 4 years from now.
Outside of
your job is to make money off of that.
20 years.
Yeah. Well, outside of adoption, what's pretty awesome, I mean, there's not a shortage of cadavers and doctors being able to train upon those. But I tried to get involved with a company about a year and a half ago, and unfortunately it didn't quite work out. But they literally are doing metaverse medical training, which I think is phenomenal. The fact that you would be able to go and hang out with people from around the world.
See, the problem is you open that door to that metaverse training room and you're like, what are you doing to that body?
Oh my God.
Why is the hand
Just so you know, you want to hear the best comedians ever? It's doctors when you go under. I'm just letting you know. I've spent a lot of time in an OR room, and I remember the first time I was in there when I was like 10 years old and having to ask what these jokes meant to my dad, and he's like, don't worry about it. But
dangerous alpha you just
oh my God, no, the jokes are so
I'm
savage.
guessing it's died down since the Me Too movement, because I'm guessing there were some awkward or uncomfortable anesthesiologists and nurses, like, yeah, I'll hand you your scalpel, but you're a creep.
Oh God, no! The anesthesiologists are the ones with the worst jokes.
Really?
Oh,
That's unsettling. And this all goes back as well to the Oculus system and Patrick Lutke, who developed that system actually for the military.
Well, they were the ones doing all the medical training and
Right.
and the metaverse, if you will.
Absolutely. Like that technology was built for our military, and then it's sold into our gaming or our
I thought
social
Palmer
spheres.
Luckey started Oculus.
I think that's his name, Palmer Luckey. Yes,
Palmer Luckey.
yes, he was. And
Yeah,
he's-
Palmer Luckey is one of the few people to pierce the moat that is the defense industry contract.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, Raytheon doesn't want competition besides the two other buddies that BlackRock owns equal portions of. They don't want a upstart outsider to create tank systems, missile systems, so they say, oh, you got to have all this regulation. Basically, it's going to cost you $1 billion to even submit the new
Right.
Jeep for the new battlefield. It's just so hard, no one could really get in. Palmer Luckey took the Oculus money and started making a drone company that is actually getting real contracts from the Air Force. And so Palmer Luckey is a fantastic American. He is a patriot, and I'm a stan for Palmer Luckey.
Yep.
Also, I'm a stand for a shout out to Crypto Beach, who I met at Rare Evo. Super awesome, and then made me feel really good because it was kind of cool when people would come up to me and be like, "I was really excited to meet you," and I was like, looking around, seeing if DC was behind me or something. But
me?
like, I love this community, and you guys are fantastic, and I just want to thank you guys.
You're better loved than you know, BJ.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
I know.
You
It
bring the
helps.
entertainment, BJ.
I mean,
Made me feel good.
I
Thank
hate
you
when
all.
you're out of town. It's, you really light up.
Oh,
my
I'll
day.
be in a Gambit costume the rest of this week. So
Okay.
I love all the random
Is
costumes.
that here in Atlanta? Or are you going out somewhere?
no, it's here in Atlanta.
Okay,
So I will be checking into my hotel downtown and doing card tricks, wearing Gambit, wearing the Grand Admiral, and doing some other shenanigans.
Dude,
Eyeliner?
Oh, of course.
I love
I fucking look good in
I love
eyeliner.
the
Yeah.
eyeliner.
Lock up your girlfriends and your fiancés and your wives. The eyeliner's breaking out.
well,
called
one
guyliner,
last
bro.
thing on macro: just don't use your credit card if you don't have to, or clear your credit card balance out to the very best of your ability. Obviously, you got to use it to get credit built up if you're building up your credit. But credit card debt is now over $1 trillion for the first time ever. U.S. consumer credit card debt tops the 1 trillion mark. And, you can see the ebbs and flows. Like you have the financial crisis of the housing collapse right here. People paid that off. Things got a lot better. Quantitative easing was ripping hard in this moment right here. You had 2% interest rates on homes. Money was cheap. And then, incoming COVID, here's where the stimulus package happens. Everyone's able to use a little bit of their stimulus money to pay off their credit card balances or not rely on it 100%. Then we realized, whoops, we just printed 80% of American currency.
So
ever
not
in
to be the
circulation.
boomer in the room,
Yeah.
I gotta say it. Is this adjusted for inflation?
Oh, my God.
No, it's relevant. Like I'm
I
sure
don't
it
think
is
so.
the highest, but like I would love to see how bad it.
No,
truly is.
I don't think this is adjusted for inflation, but
point.
inflation is like it's the silent killer. It's the one that's in the background, just slowly and surely taking away your value. This Crimson Caravan, what's this? What are you highlighting for me? What is this?
Ignore
Oh,
it. Ignore it.
Oh, it's okay. Everyone's got opinions and stuff like that, So,
Also, shout out to Mama Shed.
yeah,
Just
Mama
chilling.
Shed. Big shout out. We have some news. Biggest news for Bitcoin and cryptos ahead. These are 4 must-watch events from the SEC and court decisions that could potentially reshape the ETF landscape to macroeconomic indicators that might dictate next move by Bitcoin. This week promises significant developments. Let's deep dive into the most anticipated events that every Bitcoin and enthusiast investor and trader should have on their radar. So number 1 is anticipation is high for the SEC's Bitcoin spot ETF decision. I don't think they're going to get it. I think we're going to get a delay or a denial. I mean, I know.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting anything September 1st. We'll see.
Yeah?
Now. I don't think. I think the markets are pretty much pricing it. When it gets rejected, we'll see. Will the markets dump? If the markets don't dump, all the big heavyweights knew it was going to get rejected.
But it's Q1 next year. It's going to be before the halvening, but it's definitely not going to be by this end of this year, solely because what everyone keeps saying. It's like, how are you going to get unrealized losses? You want to do that before the ETF.
And I don't think it's conspiratorial to say BlackRock is accumulating.
Absolutely.
So
No, we just
I
said
think,
that.
there, I
We
think there's
can't
a
track
little bit
those
of that.
wallets though. Like, can we, or is that one of those things that we have to wait till like they release their quarterly reports?
I haven't seen any I haven't seen any expose on their wallets itself. We should try to get that through. What was that new thing? God, it started with an A. It's like a new wallet tracking Arkham Intelligence. We should try to.
That's a great name.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, and then the number 2, Grayscale versus SEC, the case that could open doors. A Grayscale case versus SEC is the back door for a spot ETF approval. The DC District Court appeals could force the SEC to approve the spot ETF on the reasoning that they already had approval of several Bitcoin
That'll
features.
take longer than the BlackRock applications.
Right,
Because
right.
it's the XRP case all over. Oh, there's an injunction. There's a thing. Oh, this lawyer did that. Oh, I got this form.
Absolutely.
Times a million.
Absolutely. Yeah, that conversation kind of went back into the dark about DCG and that whole fiasco. So it'll be interesting to see that play out. I would imagine that BlackRock's going to be the first in line, just regardless.
And also, K. Bahamut, a shout out to probably fellow Final Fantasy player. Is BlackRock wallet public? We're just kind of asking that. I don't know that answer. I would
Yeah.
love to know that answer.
Yeah.
I think we all would.
Well, they're buying percentages of publicly owned and traded companies like the Marathon Digital or Riot Blockchain. So you can see Riot's amount of Bitcoin. You can see Marathon Digital's amount of Bitcoin. So when you own 40% of somebody that has 40,000 Bitcoin, you then have 16,000 Bitcoin.
Well, my other
Technically,
question
kind
is, how much are they an umbrella company, and then other companies are buying the Bitcoin? That's a question, not a statement, by the way.
Well,
Like, are
just
they
those
buying
two
through smaller
specifically,
companies?
the mining companies are publicly traded, and it's all quarterly, filed. So they're hodlers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I mean, God, I just want to riff on this for a minute. Like, DZ, I'm getting sidetracked, but you brought up methane gas flaring, and I think that that's going to be a big deal in the next few years. So I'm glad you made mention of that this morning. Number 3, DXY and macro events, potential market movers. Macro events this week could significantly impact the DXY, and given its inverse correlation, Bitcoin and other cryptos might react, and obviously I'd imagine they will. While the Bitcoin price is sitting at a higher time frame support, the DXY is at a higher time frame resistance, potentially a crucial moment, given some mixed signals there. And, as we've experienced in the past, usually if the DXY is going down, the Bitcoin value is going up. There have been times, I think just one time in the last few months, where the DXY was falling and Bitcoin was falling as well. So keep that in mind. It's not a surefire metric that you can always 100% rely on, but it's been pretty spot on. And
But it's
number
a
4.
surefire metric that can use to potentially manipulate what you're thinking.
Yeah, that's
So
absolutely
that is
true.
very valid to think.
That's absolutely
Whereas
true.
you can't necessarily control the markets, although you probably can. It's much easier to control the narrative. So do keep that in mind. Manipulation comes from price and social consciousness.
Absolutely. And then some other noteworthy crypto events. Obviously, we had just Rare Evo down in Denver. This week also heralds intriguing developments elsewhere. Hashkey, the first Hong Kong centralized exchange with regulatory clearance, begins its foray into crypto retail trading Tuesday, August 28th. And isn't it Monday? Am I confused?
That's today, yeah?
Yeah.
It is Monday.
I'm going to have to head out. I got to record some things. Guys, I'll do one more topic after this. What do we got after Bitcoin?
Then we got, this is kind of the same
Who cares
thing.
about
I
ETFs?
want to talk to you about this. So the SEC charges LA-based media and entertainment company Impact Theory for offering unregistered securities.
Yeah, I actually
offering.
Kat sat next to Tom Bilal, or I don't know how to say his last name.
Okay.
We met like one of his social media people on the way to VCon. We were heading to VCon, and she's Kat was just being friendly with the person next to him. That's my fiance. She's like, "Oh yeah, we're going to VCon." She's like, "Oh, I'm going to VCon too." So we're like, "Oh, well, what do you do?" She's like, "Oh, I work for this influencer," and she showed him this guy, his YouTube channel. I mean, Zach XBT is on it, has been on it, so that's all I'll say.
Okay.
You can look up an
okay.
old Zach thread on this.
Has
Really?
been on it as in researching or on it as a guest?
Well, this has been an ongoing situation. He's has quotes from the SEC and
Copy.
quotes from their own website.
Okay.
And so they're saying, "Oh yeah, these guys said X, Y, and Z," and then he's like, "Yeah, here's the screenshot from their website. It's pretty similar to what this language is."
Huh. Well, that'll be. We'll have to pull that up. Maybe I'll try to find that on this show for tomorrow to dig into what Zach has on this. But basically, today the Securities and Exchange Commission charged Impact Theory, media entertainment company headquartered in L.A., with conducting unregistered securities offerings in form of non-fungible tokens. So, basically, the company raised approximately $30 million from hundreds of investors, including investors from across the United States, through the offering. So that'll be kind of interesting to see here. But appreciate you joining us today, DZ.
Bye, DZ.
Yes.
Dos Vidania.
Yes. Who's on mods? Let's see here. I don't know. Okay. Well, let's see here. We got BlackRock and his major shareholding in 4 of the 5 largest Bitcoin miners. Now, this is just more back-end exposure from BlackRock into Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining's process. And before I get into this, I want to talk a little bit about
how does that correlate to the pools too? So go back to the top. I want to see that wording again.
BlackRock, major shareholder in 4 of the 5 largest Bitcoin miners.
So does that mean
Marathon,
the
things of that
pools?
nature? Well, it'd be Riot Platforms, Marathon Digital Holdings, Cypher Mining, Hut 8 Mining Corp, and then TerraWolf.
Okay, so
Yeah.
not necessarily the pools.
No, it's just mining companies.
That is extremely relevant.
Right. One of the largest investment companies in the world is positioning itself in the Bitcoin mining industry. The investment giant is already the second largest shareholder in 4 of the 5 biggest miners in market capitalization.
So that is super bullish. So
Right.
it's like the classic thing. Typically, when people profit from pandemonium, if you will, this is a similar thing where it's like if they're investing in the mining companies, do you think they want the price to go up or down? Spoiler alert, the answer is up, because you want to get more people into spec mining.
Yeah.
Actually, at that point, it's not even spec mining. It's like it's profit mining at that point. So
Right.
that's extremely bullish.
Right.
Now, what scared me a little bit is, does this create massive centralization? So if it said
That's the big
they
fear.
are
That's
the
Trojan
majority,
horse.
they're the majority of the mining power and the proof of work state in the 5 largest pools, that's extremely scary.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. And that's the Trojan horse that the crypto industry is scared of, right? Like,
Yep.
we want to be accepted by these massive institutions. We want the trillions of dollars in exposure to this growing and young market, but it comes with some caveats, some dangers there. Because BlackRock has been known to arbitrage markets down for their benefit and good entry positions, suppress markets for a litany of different reasons.
but here you wouldn't want to suppress it, because then you don't sell miners.
No, you could try to, down the line, like Bitcoin's, you can vote on it, you can change it. But them also having the mining capacity. Now, this can be also thought in the frame of mind where, Bitcoin in 10 or 20 years is proof of power spent or energy spent. And there could be nation states more interested in controlling the basically the landscape space, the area of which Bitcoin operates. I could see
Oh,
China.
God.
What's
Sorry.
that?
Oh, God. Bad things just happened to my head.
What?
So if everything's ASIC based, and you own all of the basically the miners, you get patents on specific ASICs and specific languages. Yeah, this is actually potentially really
Yes.
bad, because then you jack up the prices of the miners. Even the most
Exactly.
basic miner costs $100,000.
And all of a sudden, you're
Wait.
centralized.
Then you own, and that is one of the things that does scare me with like I had this debate with Mind Your Biz of what would be easier to control, proof of work or proof of stake. And then my argument was, well, with printing enough money, you can buy enough miners to basically be able to knock everybody out, and it's economy of scale. Now, theoretically, you could do that with proof of stake as well, because again, you print enough money, you buy enough of the supply. But yeah, that's it's bullish in a sense, because obviously I feel like they're going to want people to buy the miners. It is extremely bearish for decentralization, exactly
Yes.
in the sense that you can jack up the price, especially if they have IP on the specific ASICs and everything else.
Right. And
so we'll see.
call me crazy, but to some people,
Yeah.
cryptocurrency
Yeah,
is about
crypto
sovereignty,
yeah.
right? It's about controlling your value. It's about actually having control of your future and your assets. You know, some of us out here in the United States and in Canada and really across the world have experienced what it's like to be shut down by technological overlords that are faceless, nameless. There is no vote, and there is a true intrinsic need to decentralize our value and our lives so that we can continue to express ourselves in the public square. And if you think about it, the public square has not been in a physical form for some time. Ever since Facebook and Instagram and even chat rooms and the internet explosion, you know, there has been a massive move of, you know, the public square onto this digital platform. And so protecting our sovereignty there and being able to, you know, express ourselves through what we buy and not be labeled as less than desirable goods, you know, if you want to purchase them, is going to be super, super important. So call me crazy, but sometimes virtue and sovereignty matters more than short-term profit gains. And that's what worries me about the BlackRock stuff in the long term. You know, I'm a big boy. I can make money all kinds of ways. And, you know, cryptocurrency is just another avenue of which I do so with. And to see the only chance that we have, I feel like as humans, to protect that sovereignty, be, you know, at risk from major players like BlackRock getting involved, it's a double-edged sword for sure. So that's why, you know, I definitely preach to change your life with the technology. Buy land. You need land. Land is very important, right? You just moved. Aaron's right around the corner from
Dude,
me now.
you're my neighbor now, like 5 minutes away.
I know.
Yeah.
Watch out. If you see any trees cut down on the highway, that'd be me.
That's you.
Yeah, that's me.
Like I said, if everything goes to crap, I know where I'm going. I'm going to your house. You got eggs and guns and stuff.
Oh,
so.
dude, this weekend was rough on the chicken crew. I had to take down a rooster. He was starting to hurt the rest of the flock and had to do the thing. So sometimes being out and doing the farm life is not as pretty or as wonderful as Instagram makes it look. So yeah, keep that in mind whenever you're thinking about getting into this stuff. But now, so this BlackRock stuff, great. So they have interest in 4 of the 5 major Bitcoin mining companies in the United States. That's awesome. You know, there's going to be a lot of movement coming in the short term for money. Long term, little suspect, right? So we got to let them know that we're looking. Now, there are ways, like what BlackRock does, they are representatives of, you know, people that are... They have the money given to BlackRock, and BlackRock's supposed to go invest that money for their interest. And what we did see recently is over 20, I think it was 22 state attorney generals call out BlackRock and actually, you know, act like or threaten to go after them with litigation because they were investing in ESG programs that were crushing the local economies of those 22 different states. So Larry Fink backed off a little bit.
So here's another ridiculous thing. Why isn't the SEC going after BlackRock? Because wouldn't at this point miners be securities? You're buying them with the expectation of profit. I know that's a little ridiculous, but like, is that a narrative that might come up?
Man, I mean, I
hope not.
I hope
stretch.
not. That'd be a stretch.
You would say that.
I know.
But
I know.
I'm hoping it's a stretch.
Yeah. Well, and if we as a people make them aware that we're aware, like we know that you know that we know
That they know.
that they know,
Yeah.
then they're less likely to do it because they know they're being watched, right?
Roosters have good eggs. Sorry.
Oh my God! And yes, we're eating the rooster, so yeah, skinned it in the middle of the night and did all this stuff. Not fun.
And David, BlackRock owns the government.
No,
True
they
or
are the
false?
What do
are
they
the
not own?
Yeah, I mean, they are the government. Larry Fink is your president, so enjoy that. No matter who gets hired next time, that's my opinion. Larry Fink runs the place.
Oh yeah, but I mean, solar miner, LOL, SEC going after BlackRock. I mean, yeah, I agree. They're definitely not going to. It was more commentary on miners potentially being securities, but yeah.
Good luck.
Well, and I also saw something that DZ mentioned this morning about the methane flare gas capturing technologies that were being presented out of the White House. It was kind of a non-story when it broke. I believe it was mid 2022. An executive order came out from Uncle Joe, and you know, it was all FUD and all this stuff against stable coins. But about 2/3 of the way through this gigantic document, I read the whole document. I came across this portion where the government's basically talking about incentivizing oil and gas companies very handsomely to put Bitcoin mining systems onto the methane gas flares, that, you know, that big plume of fire that you see going into the sky as oil is being pumped out of the ground, methane gas flares. Now, that's wasted energy as of right now, and it makes up about 1% of the overall emissions on Earth. So that's quite a big chunk that is produced out of those, you know, releases. So within the executive order, it was noted that the government is financially incentivizing Bitcoin miners and oil and gas companies to make that marriage, to capture that energy out of the methane pipe, turn it into Bitcoin mining operations, and that will be proof of power spent going back into the overall financial and fiat infrastructure of backing for the United States dollar, in my opinion.
So if this is the narrative and you're trying to use methane as a source, do we see Toyota getting into mining? Why I bring that up is Toyota has been heavily pushing hydrogen, and what they have been doing is actually building some plants, going around picking up manure, and then basically taking that and getting the methane off of that to not only power houses, but basically create facilities for hydrogen for cars.
Right.
So would that not therefore mean that Toyota is actually in a fantastic place for this too?
Well,
because I'm not saying the limiting reagent for the digging up of the oil, like obviously that's not a massive limiting reagent, but I feel like something that is less likely to be a limiting reagent would be cows. So, but yeah, I'd actually be very interested to see
Cow
what Toyota
poop
does with this.
miners?
Speaking of cows, I'm glad you brought that up. Modi calls for global crypto regulations at the G20 summit. India has contributed to the discussion by issuing a presidential note aligning with the international guidelines from organizations. And during the annual group of G20 summits, the Indian Prime Minister, oh God, I'm going to slaughter this, Narendra Modi, urged global cooperation in the development of crypto regulations. Modi remarked that the character of these emerging technologies will have a global repercussion. Therefore, the surrounding laws, regulations, and frameworks should not belong to a single nation or a group of nations. That's a very interesting and key kind of notion coming out of India. Not sure if that's the same intention that China and Russia have. He went on to say that India is controlling the crypto industry regulatory dialogue. India has issued a presidential note on August 1st that included its perspective on the global crypto framework. In 2022, the country imposed a 30% tax on crypto proceeds, resulting in a mass exodus of crypto startups at a precipitous decline in crypto trading activity.
Before you click away, scroll down a wee bit.
Yeah.
On the side, scroll up a wee bit. Ethereum whale acquires 550 million FTX. $550 million worth. Yeah, okay. What? Like, how legit is this?
This came out. No,
1 year ago. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh man,
You're a little late to the party, buddy.
I was
You're
like,
a
if
little
that
late to
was
the party.
new,
They need to update their little sidebar there.
yeah, they do. Okay, cool.
The BRICS situation is super, super interesting, though. I've seen India kind of pulling away. I think we're thinking about covering BRICS. I think we should cover BRICS.
I was looking up some topics for Druth episodes, and BRICS came up. You know, I've seen it on some Twitter news sources and stuff. And I was like, do we make a video about BRICS? Because we've mentioned it in a video before, but like, do we do a deep dive on it?
Well, now people care about it, right? Like, I've been watching BRICS for quite a long time. Like, no one really cared about BRICS until about a year ago. But it's something that I've been paying attention to for a long time because I've been trying to understand just the overall game plan for these nation states and who might be fighting who. I feel like the third.
Should we be concerned about this?
BRICS and BRICS is going to try and challenge the U.S. Do I believe the U.S. is going to lose? No, I do not. But I think that it's going to be painful. I think that there's going to be some shocking things that happen within the U.S. and within Russia and China over the next 10 years. And we are seeing a big shift in the Central African kind of production belt in Central Africa, where a lot of uranium, but also cobalt, more primarily in my mind, is produced at. And you have this massive narrative going that everything's going to be electronic and you're all going to have EV vehicles. We're going to have charging stations everywhere, right? That narrative is all over the place. And if we don't, we're all going to die, right? How dare you? But On the flip side of that, it's literally based off of the production of cobalt and lithium. Cobalt comes from the central of Africa, on top of the fact that Africa has been being bled dry by France and other EU nations for quite a long time. And now that Putin has basically given the olive branch to Central Africa, primarily Niger,
Well,
to
speaking
take
of,
over that spot. What's up?
Speaking of Putin, Crypto Thorn is asking, y'all don't capture your farts for energy?
Oh.
Anyway, back to an actual thing.
Oh my God.
Imagine.
Well, I mean, it looks like Russia's going to be capturing the operation along with China in Central Africa for the production of that cobalt and uranium because Niger's kind of done with France. That's what it looks like. So, but the interesting thing is,
Where is all the cobalt, by the way?
Cobalt? It's in Central Africa.
Oh, wait, where's all the war going on?
Well, it's always been going on there, but
Well, I know, but it's what, through like Ethiopia. I can't remember if Sudan is involved. I believe, I'm not sure what the Congo is called right now. Like, legit,
I still call it the Congo.
The People's Republic that once was known as the artist known as Prince. I don't know, but I'm assuming that's going on right there where all the cobalt is. And
Right.
They're basically doing an Afghanistan for lithium right now.
Yep.
Okay.
And it is my opinion that since we don't have Gaddafi up there at the top of Africa, basically holding back that massive surge of people fleeing the African states up into EU, etc. Since he is gone, Europe is going to be a much different place because that is now pretty much open wide. God, the chat is just so brutal today. You know what? I know you guys are all worked up. Just remember, breathe.
There's some love in the chat though. I see.
I
Some,
know,
I'm reading some good comments too.
John Foster Crypto? Who is Astar
Astar?
or Aster?
No,
Because they're saying Toyota is partnered with them, which I'm assuming is going back. Here, I'll just look it up. I do.
Okay.
Have a
Quick
connection
Google
to the
search.
internet.
And we see China and Russia challenging us. I'm talking about that, but then we have this coming out of Spectator Index, market value of one of the biggest portions of Chinese economy, which is their property sector, and Evergrande there within, which is one of the largest companies of that. Started in October 2017. Last reported was $50 billion of market value. It is now down to $0.4 billion.
Hey.
So they are cratering hard. And it's an interesting thing to see, and on this subject, the reason why I bring this up is because there's a lot of predatory loans that China has been giving out to these African countries. And if they default on those predatory loans, guess what? That becomes Chinese area. That comes sovereign Chinese land that they're able to pull the minerals from, they're able to use for transport back and forth. And obviously, they're talking about this central bank digital currency that they're operating just between each other with, the digital yuan, the digital ruble, right? We're behind on our cryptocurrency regulations. We're behind on building out this government level infrastructure of payment systems while BRICS is getting ahead of us. And so it's interesting to see, we have the bonds. You brought the bond market. I mean, it's been really, the bonds are going off of a cliff. So that's why I feel like quantitative easing in at least the form of treasury repos is coming. And I wouldn't be surprised at all. In fact, I do expect actual quantitative easing to be coming around the end of 2024, maybe even as soon as mid 2024.
I'd say mid.
You think mid? That's mid.
Oh, God. Do they do what they did before where they printed money when it was the best time to buy crypto again? Like, are they literally following a pattern? Because quantitative easing started at the bottom of the market again, which is also why I think there's going to be the pullback on crypto. But I think it's before the end of the year. But
I think
where's
so.
that timeline?
I think so.
Because
I think you might nailed it. I think
but
you
the
nailed
quantitative easing isn't going to happen until later. And then you have to see when does the ETF. So is the. Do we get this narrative of 2.0? ETF actually is approved. Quantitative easing happens all at the same time.
That'd be just that's just how it was. But think about that too.
It feels too easy.
Then we have low inventory on housing because no one wants to sell into 8% interest rates. People are holding on to their homes that they got in a 2 or 3% interest rate. They ain't moving for the most part. Most homes in America are held by people within that range. So, there's basically a Mexican standoff between markets where people aren't wanting to sell, people can't afford to buy. So you have to do something drastic monetarily to get the juice moving again. That's in general where we're at.
How much do we talk about? So I somewhat disagree with this based off of Fred charts because I feel like Zillow and everyone else are kind of saying the opposite of it. But we look at whether or not like Klaus Schwab is about to pull an SVB right now where they're starting not to do commercial loans at least. And so will they almost be the precipice of beginning to stop doing mortgage lending for residential?
Yeah.
So that's where things are going to get very interesting because if nobody's buying these mortgage bonds and everything else, like they can't put out mortgages.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, what's really interesting to look at is how during the financial crisis, how they said it was all the subprime mortgages that caused everything. They, I think, were actually only like 30% of the foreclosures,
Right.
if not actually less.
Right.
So that was a complete false narrative last time talking
They're
about.
a good scapegoat, though.
Yeah,
It's
well,
your fault. You took the money too easily.
but looking at the chart, that wasn't the case. So it's like if subprime mortgages weren't truly the issue last time, and we're saying that there's no way that's going to happen now because we don't have subprime mortgages, to me, that would be conducive to believing that we're about to do the same thing. I don't see why we wouldn't.
History rhymes. It's not always the same, but it always rhymes. You know what I mean? And that's why we're in an interesting time frame in existence where we have this chance to at least garnish some sort of digital sovereignty with our money. And our money, in my opinion, is the strongest vote that you have as an individual. It's what you're spending your money on, how you're spending your money, where the velocity of that is. So we are at a point where basically you have to wake up, you have to stand up for your rights for that personal sovereignty. You have to make it aware to your government officials, everyone that is supposedly a elected representative above you. You need to let it be clear that this is intrinsically important to your God-given rights.
So David, I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher this. What?
Brumbelow.
That would be a fun guest to have on. Somebody that's a top mortgage broker and they're nearby.
Let's see.
That could actually be really cool.
Where's Hoover?
I'll have to see about that. That. Well, on the commercial real estate side, I wanted to just make this mention too. We are still dealing with banks. Mid-size and smaller banks are, particularly not the big 5 or 6, but mid or small banks are still exposed to $500 billion in unrealized losses from commercial real estate.
Yeah, Klaus Schwab
securities.
is one of those.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry, Charles Schwab is one of those. Like,
Klaus Schwab.
why are we sorry? But like that is very irrelevant to talk about. Irrelevant. Oh my God, I am.
You are out of control.
Yeah.
When'd you get back?
You are out of control.
Late last night.
He came back
that
from
explains
Denver.
it.
Okay.
I'm like a
explains
broken
it.
sword right now. I'm extremely sharp,
Yeah.
but I'm lacking a point.
Oh, man.
God, I'm sorry.
We love
man,
BJ.
I mean, it's been a hell of a day. It's been absolutely nuts. Like, I know things are tough right now, but you have to stay focused. And, keep in mind, with what's coming, you have a strength. Personally, you have a strength. You at home, me at home, us as a group, we are strong. And I wanted to, kind of end it with this. I put this up last night, but power systems only stay in power through the consensus of the people of which they govern. Once they overstep and begin to outwardly abuse that power, that is when a true rebellious nature of people is discovered once again. They are going to try to lock us down once again, and I am asking you to resist. Do not let them get away with this again. For the love of all that is holy, we have experienced what it did to kids and their developmental abilities. We've experienced what it did to communities, ripping them apart, taking away that in-person interaction. So for the love of God, please just pay attention to what's coming. And I wouldn't be saying this if I didn't have enough data points to feel strong about in just my own verifiable sources, not to mention everything else that's in the media, because you got to keep in mind, if you see a lot of things going on in the media, a lot of it's fake. A lot of it's not real. So I keep that in mind when I make these assertions.
Media is not real.
Yeah, and neither are birds. Neither are birds. Birds are not real.
Well, there's some ornithologists that might come after you on that one.
Michael Moore, Mike Bennett, Ziggy YX, Dave Brumbelow, Cryptos for Numa, the Deadwood, C90 FTW, Steve-O, Deucey Crypto, Nakudo Gamer, King D, Mr. Techno.
Crypto Beach
Crypto Beach, where's that at?
in my heart.
Oh, okay. Nice. I'll hang out there for a while. Thank you very much for joining us, you guys. And we'll be back tomorrow, and we'll see if any big news breaks. Really, we're at a kind of an interesting time in Bitcoin right now. It's at that 26.1 spot. And if it breaks above, man, it might be party time again. And like I said, if it breaches and continues on, then, I'm going to be looking at getting into those good altcoin positions before we see the next explosive move in the markets. So with that being said, we appreciate every single one of you for joining us today. Stay salty, stay strong, stay concise, and give the people around you, the love and attention they deserve. Everyone deserves love and attention. And with that, I bid you adieu.
Go touch some grass.
Never mind.